Have you ever walked into your house and thought to yourself, what is that smell? Well, if you felt that way, you're not alone. I know I have too. So in this video, I'm gonna share some helpful tips to get your home smelling great. Now, the first tip may seem a little simple, and you might do this already at home, but that's just to take out your garbage every single day, whether it's your kitchen, your bathroom, just around the house. By doing this, you eliminate anything that could be in the garbage that's lingering and creating a stinky odor. Now, another thing to always keep in mind is it's a good idea to clean the garbage can itself at least once a month. The cleaner I do suggest to use for this job is just my DIY vinegar mix, which is 1 cup white vinegar, 1 cup water, and about a teaspoon of dish soap. I really like the Blue Dawn just because I feel like it really cuts through the grease and grime that can get into your garbage can, and that can just create more stinky odors as time goes on. And the nice thing about this mix is that the vinegar will neutralize any odors. Another area that can get a little stinky is your kitchen sink garbage disposal. Things like old food, grease, and grime can really start to build up in there and create some, well, nasty smells. So what I like to do is to come through, I'll clean my sink first, but then grab some garbage disposal cleaning pods like these ones here, drop that in, kind of follow the instructions here, run the garbage disposal for a little bit. That's gonna clear out all that nastiness, leaving behind a nice, clean, fresh scent, and your kitchen is gonna love it. Now, this next tip is a little bit of an investment, but in my experience, it's 100% worth it, and that is to invest in some air purifiers for your home. Now, these do a great job to trap things like dust, debris, and various particles that are kind of floating in the air, and many times those can contribute to stinky odors. There are a few things I like to recommend when it comes to purchasing your air purifier, and that's the first is that make sure it's a HEPA filter. These are the best type of filters to pull out all the particles and dust and all that stuff that's floating around your house. The second is to make sure it's big enough for your space. If it's undersized, it's just not gonna do as good of a job. And the last thing, this might seem obvious, but replace and clean the filters at the proper interval that the manufacturer suggests. Reason being is if you have a dirty filter, it's just not gonna do a good job and it defeats the purpose of running the machine. The next tip is to clean your house on a regular basis. Now, I know that sounds simple and it might feel a little overwhelming, but it's important to clean those high traffic areas like your kitchen and your bathroom and remove all the dirt and grime that kind of just builds up over time. It's totally normal, so that it doesn't sit there and start to stink. Now, all of our houses are going to be a little different, and you know your house best and probably those areas that need regular maintenance. For instance, I know at my home, doing the dishes on a daily basis really helps cut down just them not building up, but also stinky odors lingering from the sink, along with the toilet. Even just a quick vacuum weekly can really pull down all the pet hair and dander that's kind of floating around in the house. If you have pets, you know that can get a little stinky over time, but really I found that building the routine helps me keep up with it. That way I don't have to get super overwhelmed on one single day and be like, I gotta clean the entire house. So something I've made to help you build a good cleaning routine in your home is these checklists here. I kind of just downloaded my brain and all the years and years of cleaning experience and boiled it down to the basic kind of simple things that I clean on a weekly basis to kind of keep the home clean and fresh. Now, these are actually available to the Clean Squad members over on our Patreon. So if you want to get these, you can check the link down in the description. Join us over there. We'd love to have you. Sometimes you can have odors that kind of tend to linger or kind of just float around the house, and you need to get them out. So another great suggestion is just to open up the windows in your home, let some fresh air in, just air everything out, get those stinky odors out, and some fresh, clean air in. If you're like me and live in an area with cold winters, this can be a challenge though, because you don't want to always open the windows up and let all the heat out of your house. So what I'll do from time to time, if I need it, is I'll just crack the window just a little bit, leave that open for about 5 to 10 minutes. That lets some nice fresh air in, but not all of my heat out. So we've talked a lot so far about how to identify and get rid of those lingering funky odors, but another thing you can do is use candles and air fresheners. Now, anytime I talk about introducing scents into the home, I always get a few different types of comments. Some people love the smell of a very fragrant odor. Others don't like anything at all. So whatever you choose to do, it's totally up to you. If you don't want to use this tip, that's okay. Now, I know for our home, I love to use some candles and even some air fresheners, specifically like the Febreze Touch we really like on some of our softer items, just because it's a very mild odor, and then every time you sit down, it's releasing more fresh scent, so it keeps the couch smelling better. Something I always like to mention though when it comes to using air fresheners is yes, you want one that smells good, but you also want one that's gonna neutralize and get rid of stinky odors. Because remember, a fresh smelling home isn't really about what you add, it's about what you remove. So this this is our dog Mabel. Everybody say hi Mabel in the chat. But as you can see, this is one of her favorite places to take a nap. And we've noticed that the throw blankets that she lays down on sometimes can get a little stinky. They're very absorbent over time. And so it's a good idea to always wash them at least once or twice a month. Even if you don't have pets, just by washing these can really freshen up your living room. The next tip is to wash your walls. And I know that can feel like a very big job depending on the size of your house. But this is really important because the walls can absorb all sorts of stinky odors, especially in rooms like your kitchen and bathroom. The process is pretty straightforward. I like to just mix up about a teaspoon of dish soap and water in a spray bottle, spray the wall at an angle, and then come through with a damp flat mop and go straight up and straight down, kind of like you're painting. Now, if you need some more detailed instructions, I got you. I actually have a full step-by-step video on this. I'll link that down in the description below. Now, I do recommend to do this at least once a year. I know for us, we like to do it in the springtime during spring cleaning, just because I feel like it's a nice reset for the whole space. Another great tip, and this is for more of my green thumbs in the audience, I gotta say, I am a cleaner first and not a gardener. I cannot keep things alive very well. Thankfully, my wife is much better at it than I am. However, keeping plants in your house can really help freshen up the space, keep it smelling better, and even clean the air. The next tip is to regularly change your filter on your AC or furnace unit. Now, if you have a really dirty filter, this can start to get really stinky and just push that odor throughout the entire house. Now, the other huge benefit about doing this on a regular basis is that it's going to also help trap all those dust particles and things that are floating around your house that can also cause an odor. Now, something to keep in mind too is that this is going to be much better on your machine itself, and it's going to make it run so much better. So I like to just make sure to put this in my calendar to change these so I never forget. Another thing we like to do in our home to add a nice pleasant scent is something called a pot simmer. What's nice about these is they're inexpensive to make, and usually in our house we just have the ingredients already laying around, and I love that they're an all-natural option to add fragrance to the home. Now, there are a variety of different pot simmer recipes on the internet, but one we really like to use, especially kind of in the fall and winter time, is just chopping up an orange and an apple, adding some cinnamon sticks, about a teaspoon of whole cloves, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then you're just gonna add some water to the pot and just let it simmer on your stovetop. Usually we just let this go for a few hours and it fills the home with a nice, cozy aroma, but something to look out for is the water will start to evaporate, so you might just have to add some more. Now, if you guys have any recipes that you like to use for a pot simmer, definitely drop a comment down below because I'd love to try them. So there you have it. Those are just a few options to help your house smell better. Thanks so much for watching as always, and if you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel, or if you have some questions, definitely drop a comment down below. I also need to give a huge shout out to the Clean Squad members over on our Patreon. Thank you so much for the continued support of the channel. If you want to learn more about that and join us over there, check the link down in the description. And as always, I'll see you on the next clean.